Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Get booked solid, because when we do the podcast, Dave likes how I just say welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. This is Get Booked Solid. I'm Sean, that's Lacey, and we have the amazing David Meltzer with us this morning. What's up, Dave?
I am extremely excited to do and be here. It's just amazing, though, after thousands of shows, how one variable continues to be non-stable, which is the internet. And if our cars work like the internet, we'd be screwed. They just like stop in the middle of the freeway. They go 30 miles an hour, then go 1,000 miles an hour. So it's an interesting thing. I've been involved in the internet since 1992, and I'm thinking to myself, how can this still suck?
Right.
You know what I take away from that is connectivity, right? And I think that life and business and success is all about connectivity. Sometimes we have great connectivity, whether it's to our spouse or to our business partners or to our clients or our prospects. And other times we have choppy connectivity, and everybody gets super frustrated, right, when the other person starts so then you get really frustrated. But I mean, imagine in any relationship how frustrating it is when the connectivity, the communication is spotty, when it's cut off, it's not totally there. Connectivity is so important in today's world. We live and die by that.
I love that you just turned a tech issue into a life lesson.
Well, you always have to do that. You have to do that.
That's
what Dave teaches. Except he looks frozen again.
I'm frozen again. So
at least he looks like inquisitive, like frozen and
it's a good froze. It's a good froze. I was gonna say we're always connected. It's what we're doing to interfere with it. And so I have a question. Should I log out or just continue with a frozen picture?
No, I love it. I love the frozen picture. It's awesome.
It's like frozen and then speaking words of wisdom behind the frozen photo. Totally up to you.
No, it stopped in a good spot.
It did stop in a good spot. At least he wasn't like.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. I have one more chance of a different internet to log into. Let me know. Should I keep it frozen or jump off? It's up to you.
No, I like frozen.
We're frozen right now.
We'll tell you. Frozen.
Yeah.
It's the new frozen.
Hopefully it unfreezes.
Hey, today, Dave, we're going to talk about the importance of team. I know that the three of us, we've put together the Human Asset Blueprint. If anybody would like to get access to that, just hit up any one of the three of us, David at dmeltzer.com, Sean at blackdiamondclub.com, Lacey at blackdiamondclub.com. Just hit us up. We can make that available to you, the Human Asset Blueprint. But today we're talking with a special guest about that. But first, I want to ask you, how important is it that we have the right people? We live in this day and age of virtualization of our teams, and so many people utilize virtual assistants. We utilize virtual assistants. You do too. Some people utilize them exclusively. That's all they have is virtual assistants. And oftentimes, one of the things they struggle with, again, is that connectivity. It's hard to create that culture and cohesiveness when everybody is virtual. Talk to me a little bit about just the importance of team in getting ahead in business and in life.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I talk about capabilities. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. Because I went black on my screen. But anyway, I talk about capabilities being really important when it comes to team. Because if we can extract the capabilities that are best utilized by people that are working to live, not working for luxury, we can maximize the capability of the people on our team that inherently living here and working on our team are living for luxury. And there are unique skill sets and capabilities that the people that live for luxury have that are more valuable, but it takes a little bit longer to distinguish how to move weaknesses to strengths, how to utilize people's capabilities, extract the ones from them that other people can do, especially in the outsourced world that we live in. And for me, I've moved from a very, very large team to an even bigger team, but most of the people are not in my inherent team. I have a core of individuals. I have a lot of interns during the summer that I teach, but more importantly, I've now hired a funnel team. I have an ad team. I have a PR team. I have Buckwald is my agency, and I've hired great capabilities, even from people that live for luxury, outsourced, but it would not work but for the team that shares the values, the practices, and the execution model that I have instituted in order to effectuate the hundreds of people that we outsource to.
I think that's really a great concept too, because so many people have like just a marketing team. I love that you have like a funnel team. Like you've really niched it down to make sure, again, that you're putting people in the right places with the right capabilities, and they're dedicated to do something very specific. So many times we generalize positions, and sometimes it's not a good fit for that person's capabilities and individuality, right? And I think that's really important.
Dave, Lacey wants you to sign back in. I voted for keep it frozen.
I agree with Lacey. I was leaving it up to you, so I was leaning. Yeah. Let me sign back in. Go ahead, get started. I'll be right back. Bring Cindy in and introduce her. Get started.
Absolutely.
All righty.
Tuesday.
Oh yeah, it is Tech Tuesday.
It is Tech Tuesday.
All right, everybody. While we're waiting for Dave to jump back in, we're going to get today's guest all queued up. We're going to be talking to Cindy Kopich. She is a trusted confidant and capable leader, especially in the education space. Absolutely. She is a former educator herself, and she really thrives in the realm of human resources. And this uniquely positions her to provide invaluable guidance, leadership coaching, and professional development to enhance your team's success, foster sustained engagement, and to build employee retention. She is a 2024 award-winning provider of professional development with the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Wow, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. That's this year.
That's this year.
We should have had a big party for Cindy. She supports leaders and employees to improve as a certified Gallup Strengths Coach. Everybody's heard of Strengths Finders there. And she is currently working on a book to help solve the crisis in teacher retention across the country. Listen, I think that is a massive cause, I would say, right? Like it's a big cause. I know that everybody is concerned about that, teacher retention. I would say teacher retention and teacher pay, and I don't know, well, maybe we'll ask Cindy, maybe those two things go hand in hand, whether it's at the grade school, middle school, high school level, but all the way even into, into higher education. We want to be able to hire and retain the best talent to teach all of our children, our kids, and our future leaders as well.
Yeah, I think any business owner, entrepreneur listening in right now is concerned about retention regardless, right? When they hire employees. Yes. And so I know that Cindy has a lot of information around this and can help all of you that are tuning in when it comes to hiring, firing, and keeping your employees.
I think Cindy had some pre-tech issues that James was helping her to solve. And so now she's straightened out. Now we're getting David Meltzer straightened out. Let's bring in Cindy Kopich into this show.
Hi, Cindy.
Hello. It is Tech Tuesday. So
look at that.
Oh,
we got
perfect
timing.
We've got David back. We've got Cindy here. Tech Tuesday. Just for everybody watching, Lacey and I have had zero tech issues. We live in Indianapolis, the hub of internet and technology. That's why. And so we've got David Meltzer, Cindy Kopich.
I'm gonna remind you that next time you guys drop off of my show.
Yeah. It's the Silicon Valley of Indiana right there, folks.
That's right, exactly. I brought it with me when I moved, that's for sure.
Cindy, we were talking about the importance of team. You have a lot of experience in higher education, and you have an emphasis in retention for our teachers. You have experience not just in higher education, in all levels of education. You won an award in the realm of higher education. But talk to us about this idea of retention. This is a noble cause that affects everybody in the United States. We all want and wish that our teachers would stick, the best ones, of course. And I'm sure the institutions want that as well. What are some of the challenges in retaining the best talent in the education space?
Well, you talked about earlier, you talked about connectivity. You talked about the importance of a strong team. And Dave, you talked about moving weaknesses to strengths and really identifying the capability and interests of your employees in order to form a strong team. And those are the same universal concepts, regardless of if you're talking about higher ed, K-12, or the business industry. So I've worked in the K-12 range with school leaders and schools, but higher ed as well. They have retention issues too with staff. It's not just with faculty, it's also with the employees that support faculty. And we're seeing a turnover in staff in all industries. Retention is a challenge. And those, the things that work in K-12 and higher ed are also things that work in the private sector. And it's really about hiring right. And that's the first key, but then figuring out how you can leverage people's strengths and interests, both short-term and long-term, in order to keep them engaged and willing to stay. And you talked about the importance of pay earlier. And interestingly enough, pay is about number 3 in the sort of sequence of most important issues to people. And here's why. People know that they usually know the pay when they take a job. I mean, that's like the first thing they really are considering. And teachers obviously know that when they're applying for jobs and even when they enter the profession. But what they aren't able to identify in advance is how much the stress then outweighs the pay. So when your stress goes like this and your pay is down here, it becomes irrelevant. You can throw as much money as you want, and it isn't going to necessarily fix retention. And I'm not saying teachers don't need to be paid more. They absolutely do in order to attract and retain people over the long term. But the stress and the work environment issues are predominantly number 1.
Gosh.
Well, let me just real quick, and I'll just then kick it over to you, Dave. Let me ask you that. Like, I think a lot of people would agree that, wow, how cool would it be to have Dave come and teach the entrepreneurial class at UCLA, or maybe even better at the local high school? When we look at it that way on the surface, is it paid? Is it like, well, yeah, but they couldn't pay. Like you get paid handsomely for a keynote. Imagine you got paid that for every hour of teaching at UCLA. UCLA would say, well, we couldn't do that. Is that the obstacle? Or is it like you don't want to deal with the stress in the office hours? What would it take to get David Meltzer to teach the entrepreneurial class at the high school? I mean, and I don't mean just esoterically, but I mean just separating you from the equation. What's the missing equation to attract the top talent into education? Oh, that's you, Dave.
That's you.
Oh, that's to me. Oh, I thought you were asking Cindy. Look, first of all, it's a matter of understanding how best to work with someone like me, because it's not about the money. I think people who have been successful in their field want to pour in or give back, especially to students, and to be able to accommodate people like me by having a combination, maybe a hybrid type of class with the proper support would be enticing. And to be fair, I've spoken at UCLA and their summer program, their entrepreneur program. There are classes that bring in, that understand that bring in guest speakers. So the entire semester is 12 different people like David Meltzer who come in and teach one time because it's accommodating that lifestyle. I think one of the issues that's brought up for me is the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, is to get the best people. They're used to being able to do what they want, when they want, with who they want, for as long as they want. And that's, if you've read, for example, Housel's Psychology of Money, that's the core of the historical success of money, is that ability, that freedom. I think as far as reward, I think the focus should be on how important it is for the sake of what. And I think that's lost after engagement. And those variables of stress, that if we have mechanisms and methodologies in place when these quote unquote activities we get paid for, work, jobs, are more stressful than it's worth, we have to have a system in place to remind us for the sake of what.
Mm-hmm.
And those teachers, for example, my mom was a teacher for 47 years and and made no money, as most people know. But she constantly knew for the sake of what.
Mm-hmm.
It gave her free education for her children. It was building her future of what was important to her. And I think we've lost that a lot of times in all education, is, for the sake of what. And, you think about Princeton, they had Oppenheimer and Einstein teaching there. How did they get them there? I promise you it wasn't money.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't money. It was for the sake of what is why and how Princeton got those two people that didn't need to be there to actually live there and to work there full time. Those opportunities are still available.
So I want to go back to what Cindy said in the very beginning, because I think it's so relevant and pertinent to every entrepreneur listening in, is that the first step in all of this is hiring right. And I think that so many of us in business get stuck in the necessity of an employee. And because we need them in that moment, we oftentimes don't take the correct steps in order to hire right. And so what have you seen or helped people identify in that process so that they can actually hire right from the beginning?
That's to me?
That's for you, Cindy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, first I want to go back.
She knows I'm not the one to ask that question.
I guess. Okay. I was like, where are we playing in tennis? I got it. Okay, my turn, Dave. All right. So I do want to address and kind of go back to one thing first, Lacey, about what Dave said regarding purpose. And you're spot on. Teachers know, you don't go into teaching to get rich. You go in because you love making a difference in the lives of students. I think the issue now is that does exist, except what teachers are experiencing is they're not able to do what's best for kids because of some of the other factors that are going on in schools. They don't have the support they need. And support means a bunch of different things to various people. And so that's why people hire me to come in and really identify what those needs are. But teachers really have this sort of ethical dilemma of, I can't do what I know is best for kids because I have to do X, Y, and Z. And I think you hit it right on the head. That's what the issue is. And then back to your question, Lacey, about how you help people hire. I think first you have to know, you have to be able to identify, as Dave said, what the purpose is. Like, how can your purpose align to their purpose? And if not, you probably aren't looking at the right candidate. Do they believe strongly in the mission and values and the direction you're going as an organization, as a school? If not the greatest fit. And I think a lot of schools aren't great with that. They focus on maybe more of the technical things. They used to have, hundreds of applicants for positions. Now they might have 30. And so that becomes a challenge. They face this as some, corporate employers face the same issue. They're so focused on filling the spot, filling the vacancy, filling the opening, that they'll do it. They'll just put a person with the pulse in there. Mm-hmm. And then what that does is it affects the whole team.
I want to add one thing. There we go. Tuesdays. I
Tuesday.
perfect timing. Let me take over for a second. When I'm hiring and I'm average at hiring, and part of my problem and why I lean towards now the outsourcing model, because I don't have an emotional attachment to the people that I outsource to. I don't have all the different obligations of being a mentor, coach, and a teacher that I want to be. But what I've learned in hiring is that there's an intersection between proficiency, and that's for me where purpose lies, in the intersection of proficiency and passion. And a lot of people will hire just for passion, and then they put a person in a position to fail, and they'll lose their purpose, or they'll hire someone just for proficiency with no passion, and purpose is non-existent. So there has to be this intersection between proficiency and passion to create purpose.
Well, I think that's great, because what I noticed too with a lot of entrepreneurs or small business owners that are getting started is they're hiring before they've even identified for themselves that purpose, that mission, and that vision for their company, right? And so I love what you're talking about. What Cindy's talking about is do those things align? Well, oftentimes you don't even have them in place, and so you end up hiring people that don't align with the mission and the vision because you haven't added clarity or identified it, right?
And hey, today's been a ton of fun in a lot of ways. I want to remind everybody right across the bottom, Cindy is offering a free session to help you with all of this. We promise you'll get connected and be able to speak to her. There's a link, calendly.com/C Kopich. Make sure that you get on that. She would be happy to provide you with this session. I don't know if Cindy's frozen or not. Nope, she's gone. I was going to ask her about Strengths Finders. She's also certified in Strengths Finders and can help you with that. I'll ask you, Dave, and you can answer for Cindy. What do you think? Like when I noticed one thing. I'd love to get your take on this. Well, she's back. Okay, here we go.
She heard what I was about to answer for her, and she's like, "Oh shit, I better get this."
Everything is spinning. I think the issues you had, Dave, are spreading. It's contagious.
Yeah, it's contagious.
Everybody move to Indianapolis. We've got great internet here. And yes,
whoever knew that Indianapolis would be the center and the mecca of good internet service.
I know.
My last question for you, Cindy, on that vein of, listen, we want to hire in the best people, and we have all of these ideas of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a person that's this, and this. And you have an expertise in Strengths Finders. One of two things typically happens, and I'd love to get your take on which is best. Either the leaders surround themselves with a bunch of people that are just like them, because that's what they think it will work. Or they're like, I'm strong, and so they hire the opposite of them. And I'm strong in this area, so I get people that are the opposite of me. But then what happens is they don't necessarily, they don't mesh, because I'm like, all these people are too touchy-feely, and I'm just about the numbers, and it makes it difficult. What's the best strategy there? I mean, you a lot of people are doing Strengths Finders, but it's after the fact. So I'm just looking at like kind of the puzzle pieces after it's already built. What's the best way to get the best people on the ship?
Well, so you hit the probably the number one thing that employers do wrong with Strengths Finder is they use that to make a hiring decision. That is not what it's supposed to be used for, and there is no research that would support that for the exact reasons that you mentioned. Either they hire people that are just like them, and that doesn't work, or they hire people that are opposite of them, and that doesn't work either. So what you are supposed to do is, after you have built a team based on the purpose, mission, capabilities in alignment that we discussed earlier, then you want to know how to leverage the strengths that people have. And that's what strengths finder, and it doesn't have to be Gallup. This isn't a Gallup ad. It can be any sort of strength assessment. And that's what I really enjoy doing, because I am a true believer that you get the best out of people when they enjoy their job, because they are truly believing in the mission and purpose. And we spend a lot of time at work. We should have fun working. And if that, I mean, certainly there are moments where it's not always fun, but when that becomes out of balance, you need to really look at, are you in the right place at the right time? And so I think Gallup is just a tool, but it's one of many.
Awesome. Cindy, thank you so much for being on Get Book Solid. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your tenacity as well, for jumping back on when nature just kind of tried to kick us off and disconnect us. Cindy at coachingconfidant.com. Reach out to her. She'll be happy to give you a complimentary half-hour strength coaching session. Either reach out to her by email or hit that link that's right there, calendly.com/C Kopich. Cindy, thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and nice to meet you, Dave.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you.
Awesome. Cindy's the best. Thank you so much. Dave, where are you going to be? Tell us about your upcoming events. How can people crisscross with you and connect with you?
I will be in New Jersey and New York this week. We have Propellify and a meetup there at Propellify. It's the biggest entrepreneurial event in New Jersey, and for years and years been doing that. And then into the city, Times Square, the launch of the collab with Dane Cook. Blessed to have Rob Riggle emceeing that with multiple special guests, including some of my friends like Marshall Falk, Baron Davis, Maria Diamond, Diane Cannon, and many, many more. You can go to Ticketmaster July 19th, but we'll be in Times Square launching that with over 100 people, which I'm super excited about later on in the day from Propellify. And then a VIP dinner. What would a city be without a meetup, a holding court, and a VIP dinner all in the same day? So I can get everything done and get back to California, where the internet's spotty, but the golf is wonderful. And I don't know if you saw, but the biggest moment of last week was bittersweet for me. And Sean, I think you'll fully understand this. My son Miles got a hole-in-one. Exactly 1 year, 1 week, and 1 day after he started playing. It's taken me 46 years to not get one. And to have him already have a hole-in-one is such an exciting thing. As you know, we want our children to have much more than we've ever had. But there's a little bitterness in my heart that I still don't have one, and that exacerbated that bitterness. But I'm very proud of him and happy for him. So may we all have hole-in-ones this week, and blessed to be here. Reach out to me if you want to join me, David@dmeltzer.com. I'm still giving my books, exercises, and guides for free. All you got to do is email me. I'll pay for the book and shipping, David@dmeltzer.com.
Super awesome. We're going to be seeing you here in a couple of weeks. We've got 4th of July coming up. Lacey and I, a little stint in Naples. Then we're heading out to Los Angeles. We've got the SoFi podcast experience coming up on July 15th. Listen, I promise you, in person, no disconnection. The three of us and you on the podcast. Hit us up if you'd like to be a part of the SoFi podcast experience. We would love to have you out at SoFi. It's beautiful. And Dave never freezes in real life. He just keeps on going.
Perfect timing.
Dave, it's so great to see you.
Thank you.
We miss you.
We miss you.
I love you. I'm sorry I won't be in Vegas and with Michael Chandler and all of us, and we wish him well. Thank you, and get book solid. Thank you, my favorites. I will talk to you soon.
Good night now.
Good night now.